Saludos, es Nisi y quería introducirles un video de Alex Jones. Y para que conozcan un poco, Alex Jones es un periodista de más de 20 años. Él se dedica al periodismo alternativo, lo que llaman los teóricos de la conspiración. Y su página de internet es infowars.com, aparte de tener también páginas de YouTube, Twitter y Facebook. Este programa específico que quiero compartir con ustedes es una sección pequeña, es del 8-12, o sea, de hace una semana atrás. Y es bien interesante, toca varios temas, que entre ellos les quiero decir sobre Bush, Jeff Bush, el candidato, y lo que él habla de cómo él cree que es posible eliminar a ISIS. También él habla de el agua, que se le ha añadido fluoruro al agua que nosotros tomamos, y es lo peligroso que es eso, y eso se lleva haciendo muchos años. También habla cómo ya su programa hace 20 años había expuesto que se vendían las partes de los bebés abortados. Y no solamente eso, que se hacen experimentos con bebés que van a ser abortados, pero antes que mueran. También él menciona cómo Margaret Sanger, que es la fundadora de Planned Parenthood, se reunió con el Ku Klux Klan y también con Hitler. Y entre otras cosas también él menciona cómo el gobierno de Estados Unidos trafica drogas y es el que maneja los carteles de droga en México, el gobierno de Estados Unidos. También él advierte cómo la élite, el sistema, los poderosos que están en control de todo, incluyendo el gobierno, con su obsesión por mantenerse en poder, eh, van a provocar guerras horribles y vamos a ser testigos lamentablemente de armas bioquímicas y nucleares que van a ser lanzadas. Entre otras cosas, también él menciona en este video que hace 5 años atrás varias personas importantes, billonarios y personas elitistas, informantes del gobierno, le advirtieron que se saliera de Estados Unidos en los próximos 5 años porque no iba a haber un Estados Unidos en estos 5 años. También él habla sobre la vacuna del Gardasil, que es la del virus de papiloma humano, y los efectos secundarios que son horribles de esta vacuna, y como quiera el gobierno la aprobó y la están distribuyendo a la gente. Y luego al final Alex Jones termina básicamente con una predicación. Llamado, él no es un hombre cristiano, él no es un ministro, no es un pastor. Así que quédate hasta el final, escucha este video, es bien interesante. Todas las cosas que se dicen son ciertas, aunque parezcan increíbles. Lamentablemente en el mundo en el que estamos viviendo, las cosas están bien difíciles. Claro que sí, siempre buscando de Dios, que es lo más importante. Así que cuídense mucho, disculpen los ruidos, ese es mi bebé. Que estén bien y hasta la próxima. Bye bye.
What did Jeb Bush come out and do in a speech he gave that CNN aired last night? Jeb Bush blames Clinton Obama for Iraq problems. They're all in on it. So it's one hand blaming the other hand, the right hand blaming the left hand. And then he goes into how we need to take out Assad to stop ISIS. Now, I predicted this would happen. Assad's battling ISIS. The West has been funding al-Qaeda, al-Nusra / ISIS for 5 years. They think we're so dumb, they're now saying bombard Assad and that will take out ISIS. But when you realize the general public cannot even find the Middle East on a map in national surveys, and they think Sunni is Shiite, and they think Saddam carried out 9/11, he can get up there when we've ganged up on Assad and his people and the Christians and the non-radical Muslims for 5 years and killed 300,000 of them. And their tiny military with Russian backing has been valiantly fighting the entire Saudi Arabian jihad. And now the answer is to bomb the Syrian army. And now the airstrikes are beginning against U.S.-trained rebels who are really ISIS. They've got the F-18 Joint Strike Fighter beginning its attacks. To fight ISIS, they're going to bomb Assad, who's fighting ISIS. That's how dumb they think we are. And you know what? We are that dumb. They put hydrofluorosilicic acid in the water that they've known for 150 years, eats holes in your brain, gives you bone cancer, and destroys fertility and makes you servile. They put that in the water, and they put it in the food up to 600 parts per million. 1.6 part per million will lower IQ by more than 10 points if you drink it for just a few years. That's a Harvard report. Do you know what 600 parts per million does in bread, powder, the powder on bread, processed bread, powdered eggs? Do you know what 600 parts per million does? It's devastating. I remember being a kid at camp, and I'd eat powdered eggs and have to go take a nap or would throw it up. Nobody told me it had fluoride in it. I just knew I felt like I'd, been run over by a truck. And it's all a big sick joke to put roach poison in your food. So, of course, they're selling baby parts. Of course, they put roach poison in most of the processed food. I got all this news. I got tons of news here. News stacked to the rafters. All of it over the top important, but I just go back to the basics. We're not in Kansas anymore. Truth is stranger than fiction. We told you 20 years ago they were selling baby parts, keeping babies alive, vivisecting them. Photos of Margaret Sanger addressing the Klan, her giving awards to Hitler, getting awards from Hitler. But notice that's all 20-year-old news for our audience. That's in mainstream news today. It's finally on TV news showing Margaret Sanger at Klan rallies. And excuse me getting so excited, but I'm just here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it's all going to come out. The white slavery kidnapping rings. High-level people in the federal government don't want to be part of this. The government drug dealing, the Mexican drug cartels run by the CIA, because people in the CIA don't want to go along with it. People are sick of it all. Everything's going to come out, and there's nothing they can do from stopping it. Here's the bad news. They're going to fail, but they may destroy the planet in the process of trying to keep control. So here's the big announcement for everybody. Get yourselves strapped in, because there's going to be big wars. There's going to be bioweapon releases. I think you're probably going to see nukes go off. They'll say they don't know who did it. It's going to get crazy. There is no doubt now we've crossed the threshold and are going into crazy town. I don't know how bad it's going to be. The faster we wake up, the more we wake up, may actually back them off. They may capitulate and just sue for peace and slow down. That's our only hope. And the reason so many of their own people are leaking info right now is they realize how evil this system is. They realize they were told a lie about globalism, that it was to bring in world peace, that it's a fraud, that it's been totally corrupted from the beginning, it was a deception, and that it all will come down. All we got to do is spread the word. All we got to do is tell the truth. All we got to do is say we don't comply with unconstitutional garbage. All we got to do is stand strong. And this system will come down. This system will fail. It will stall out. Does it mean we'll be in some utopia? Absolutely not. Does it mean we won't have bigger problems in some areas? No, we will. But there's forces of good and evil in this world, not just the evil. That's why everything they do is to dumb us down, because they're scared of strong men and women. They're strong of the light in our eyes, the light in our soul. They're scared of the fact that we want justice. We are outrageously horrifying to these people, and we should be. If you look at our enemies, they are pathetically weak. That's why they seek power. It's time for good men and women to stand up and say no. And when we take that first mighty step into what appears to be oblivion, that's when God will catch us. But you have to take the first step and commit and say, just like that astronaut was talking about yesterday, once you get on top of that rocket, you know there's a 1 in 50 chance it's going to blow up and kill you, but you're not afraid because you made the decision to do it. And some of us in this political system will be blown up. Some of us will be killed, destroyed, politically assassinated. But it's all part of God's greater plan. Again, I told you 5.5 years ago that I talked to billionaires, elitists, government insiders, you name it. Some of them here on air. And they were saying, get out of the United States within the next 5 years. That was 5 years ago. And that, quote, there wouldn't be a United States in 5 years. And I said, what does that mean? And they said, just what you say. You already know. Don't have to tell you. Now, I hope to heaven that they're wrong. I hope to heaven all these signs are wrong. And all the signs are there. And this time they're massing troops up against China and Russia, because the one thing historically that'll happen is during a total meltdown, governments will start wars before that even happens to politically divert the public's anger towards an outside enemy. When the economy goes belly up, they take you to war. A really bizarre story, and this is NASA saying this, the universe is steadily deteriorating and so is the human race. What is happening? Inspector General says Clinton had top secret sensitive compartmentalized information. Angry customers to ditch Target stores after they remove gender-based signage. Yeah, boys' clothing section, girls' clothing, boys' toys, girls' toys. I mean, just cult-like attack on language. It's an occult attack on the species itself, not of this world. And we could take this country back. Most governors don't want to deep six the country. Most mayors don't want to deep six the country. Most county commissioners don't. Most people want prosperity and justice, but they're compartmentalized. They're not part of the main power structure, so they're not aware of what's really going on. And if you tell them, hey, Planned Parenthood secretly sells baby parts, they say, no way, they'd go to jail for that. And so now that it comes out, they go, okay, let's start criminal investigations in 14 states looking to start indicting Planned Parenthood. See, we have to be laughed at, tell the truth, force the truth out, make it safe for others to look at it, and then everything will collapse in the enemy operation. I've told you many times, their strongest point and their weakest point is the same thing. They're over-the-top insane, over-the-top diabolical, over-the-top evil. And the average person just does not want to grab a child out of a playground and torture them for a month at a subterranean torture base while worshiping Satan. The average person doesn't want to get with 15 people in black robes and torture a 2-year-old for 3 days, sucking the blood out of them, like Satanists do with cutting them all over their body. The average person doesn't want to sell baby parts and buy Lamborghinis. The average person doesn't want to put a brain-eating acid in the water to brain damage people. The average person doesn't want 1 in 3 by 2025. That's the CDC believes 1 in 3 will be wearing diapers and basically a football helmet, not knowing who they are. I mean, it's just epic, legendary, over-the-top, 500 times Twilight Zone. We live it. You take a Gardasil shot, you're going to have serious autoimmune problems. You're going to have fertility problems. And then sometimes you're going to end up dying or in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And we knew it during the trials 10 years ago. It came out. It's been banned in more than, 10 countries, 11 countries, or restricted. And you don't even hear that here. They're testing being able to maim everybody and get away with it. And it's my job to smash through the lies and disinformation, to crash through it, to blow holes in it. It's my job to be destroyed. It's my job to go in and explode and then lead everybody else in to defeat the enemy. And I'm not the only one doing it. But I'll tell you, I was analyzing this morning while I was psychoanalyzing myself, being retrospective, and I thought, man, why is it I'm not afraid? Why is it I'm ready to die? Why is it I don't care and I'm so committed? Because I realize the whole species is dying, and it's a normal instinct. And then the cherry on top is I've been involved in abortions, and I've been involved in bad things, and so every minute is a blessing, and whatever God does to me, it's what I deserve. I am free, and I repent of everything I've been involved in, and I just offer myself up to resist evil. And it doesn't mean I'm perfect, doesn't mean I have all the answers, but let me tell you, God is with me, and I can feel it. The providence is there. And I just wish other people could share in this, because it's an epic, epic, epic time to be alive. I will do whatever it takes to not be a disgraceful, evil person when I die. And I just feel so sorry for people out there that have no common sense and who don't realize that all that matters is who you are, your soul. The first thing the world tells you is you don't have a soul. And then all these major elites, when I've infiltrated their organizations and their groups, they are the most superstitious, occult-obsessed people you could ever imagine. And they don't want you to know about any of this stuff, so you're totally spiritually blind, spiritually stupid, so that you don't understand that they're using occult systems of manipulation to control the planet. All occult means is hidden. The CIA, that's been secret since 1947 and above the law, is a cult. We are the anti-occult. We're here to expose the fraud. We're here to bring it out in the light. And we're going to drag them kicking and screaming out at high noon out of their crypts. And we don't have to do anything to them. We just have to spiritually drag the enemy out in the open square, and they will burst into flames. The allegory is so true. They will burn. They will turn to dust in front of our eyes the minute we recognize the light. But to bring light into the world, to bring God's light into the world, we have to be the vessels for that light. We have to be the conduit for that light. And that doesn't mean going to the church and acting how moral you are and how you're perfect and how you never looked at pornography or you never drank a beer or you're high and mighty and more proper than everyone else. That's not what God's looking for, a bunch of Pharisees. God's looking for people that love justice and love God and love innocence and love creativity and love truth, and who are willing to stand up against demons, who are willing to stand up against corrupt people, who are willing to get on that field and who aren't afraid. A lot of you out there don't believe in God. You don't believe in spiritual things. You don't believe in other dimensions, which have been proven. Let me tell you something about the metaphysical world that's guaranteed. It's based on free will, and you open and close the gate to evil and to good, to apathy and to strength. You have to make the decision that you want to see the matrix. You have to make the decision that you want to go down the rabbit hole. And the truth is, you think you're not open to those forces. If you're not open to good in your mind, you're open to bad. So the truth is, you're already wide open. Standing in the middle of the road, the most dangerous place to be, lukewarm. You ought to make a conscious decision, and while you're alive on this planet, give it one shot when you look at all this fantasticness around you. And you don't think there's more? There's a lot more on heaven and earth than in all your books, to quote Shakespeare.